Father Stephen, can you answer my question about the book Original Sin for the Orthodox Church? Have you read it? What do you think about it? And what would you say to those who advocate it as a good book? You know what?
Is that Witkoff's book?
I don't think it is, but let me double check. There was one Witkoff cited as also a good one, but I think it's that one, but let me check. It is Witkoff's book, yes.
Okay. So, like Donald Trump, I feel the need to be nice to anyone who's been nice to me. And Witkoff was an early endorser of Religion of the Apostles. So I will never be too harsh with him because of that. Because he has good taste in books. So and I have not read this. So I have not actually read the book. And so I won't comment too much because it's my understanding that he argues for some version of original guilt or inherited guilt in this. Since I haven't read it, I don't know exactly what form that takes. Because he could actually take St. Augustine's position, and St. Augustine's position I hold as orthodox, right? Or he could take, the Calvinist position, which is not what St. Augustine actually taught, and heretical. So, but not having read the book, I don't feel like I should weigh in on that. Because it kind of depends on what he ultimately means by inherited guilt, and I'd have to read the book in some detail to be able to really evaluate.
Yeah, I watched his interview with Craig, and he seems like a very careful, nuanced thinker.
Yeah. No, he's not one of these cranks on Twitter.
Correct. Like, yes.
Whether you agree with him or disagree with him.
Yeah.
That's why I say I know he's going to have a kind of nuanced position.
There was, I think, a canon from Trello that said something like infants need to be baptized at birth to wash away original sin or something, and that this canon was accepted at Trello and therefore has like universal binding authority in the East. That said, I'm also thinking that there was like a mass ratification of many canons at Trello, some of them conflicting. I think like the idea would be that like these are administrative rules, not all on the level of dogma, and that the anthropology set out by Maximus at the end of the day would be the most binding like doctrine of anthropology because it was more or less affirmed at the Sixth Ecumenical Council. I mean, what are your thoughts? I'm still like researching into this and trying to really pinpoint this.
Part of the problem is there's a bunch of terms that have to be defined, right? And there are assumptions made. So, for example, as you just summarized it, right? Sorry, that was our robot maid, Rosie. Right. So the way you summarize the statement, right? Infants need to be baptized to wash away original sin, right? For example, there are people who will act like, well, that means unbaptized babies go to hell.
Which I don't think you find that teaching anywhere, really.
It doesn't mean that. Logically, it doesn't mean that, right? Because, for example, this is the same argument.
Gehenna by hell?
No, this is the same bad argument that Protestants use, right? We say, you need to be baptized, right? You need to be baptized for the forgiveness of sins, right? And they go, well, the thief on the cross went to paradise and he wasn't baptized.
That's a good point, yeah.
Right? When we say you need to be baptized for the forgiveness of sins, we're saying that because Christ said you need to be baptized.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean every single human who isn't baptized goes to hell.
Right.
Those are not the same statement.
Right? Well, Father, Peter Mogila's catechism, it says that unless you are baptized, that original sin cannot be washed away.
Yeah. Thief on the cross. Right. So, right. So that's not correlative to you go to hell, right? Is what I'm saying, right?
Yes.
So that's first, right? So when saying this is why babies need to be baptized, or even this is why you should baptize a baby, right? Even as like when St. Augustine is responding to the question, a baby has not committed actual sins, so why do you baptize a baby for the remission of sins? And he says, well, original sin. That says nothing about the destiny of unbaptized babies. Absolutely zero. It's
That's
answering a different question, right?
Yeah.
So that can't be read in. But then also, what does it mean to remove or wash away original sin? There's a bunch of things that could mean other than penal guilt.
Yeah.
Right. So if we read St. Augustine as saying the super addendum bonum, right, the grace in which Adam participated in paradise was lost to him at the expulsion from paradise. And so all of his descendants are born lacking, because sin is a lack, right? Lacking that grace, right? And so a baby is born without that grace. They receive that grace in baptism, right? That's a perfectly orthodox reading of that statement, right? If you mean by that, babies are born judicially guilty and liable to eternal torment for what Adam did, right? And if you baptize them, then poof, right? They're no longer liable to that punishment, right? That is not orthodox teaching, right? So it's not the words, it's what's meant by the words.
Yeah. I've been trying to pinpoint a lot of these meanings too. Like, what do they mean by punishment? Because like Adam's punishment was not Gehenna. Adam's punishment was like you point out many times, Father. It was like that the land will not be generous to him, and it's like, but it will produce thorns, and by the sweat of his brow he will work, and that he gets the like earlier caller said, he gets the skin suit, you know, and it's like if that's what we're talking about as punishment, and then ultimately death. Yeah, Christ took on that punishment. You know, he took on tiredness and hunger and sorrow and ultimately death. That's not like a judicial guilty imputation where like the punishment is eternal torment.
Right. Right.
Like
he subjected himself to the curse, even though he had not disobeyed.
Wasn't liable to the curse.
Yeah. So the issue is the imposition of the idea of retributive justice.
Yeah.
Into the mix.
That's spot on.
Which is not there in the words. You have to interpret the words in a certain way to get that.
Yes. Father, what are your thoughts on Andrew Louth? Orthodox.
Generally good. His history stuff.
He has an essay on this, actually. Where did I put it? On original sin that I thought was pretty good. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It's from this Zondervan or Spectrum. I thought it was Zondervan. Spectrum, original sin in the fall, 5 views. They have a whole series of these on like God and time, the atonement. Andrew Louth writes the Eastern Orthodox view. Father Andrew. Thank you. They didn't have that credential on the back. So I wasn't. Father Andrew writes the essay on the Eastern Orthodox view, and I thought it was quite good because he goes through and he's like, look, this is complicated. And he goes through and he talks about Saint Athanasius and Anselm, and he kind of compares and contrasts Saint Athanasius and Anselm. And then he goes into Augustine, like the Orthodox, like how ought we understand Augustine, and his understanding lines up basically with Father Seraphim Rose's understanding, which is the same as Saint Photius the Great's understanding, which is he is a holy father who exaggerated a few things a little too much. He is a blessed saint and holy father of the church, and some things he overstated.
Well, the anti-Pelagian writings, there's retractions from them, but also he's in a debate.
Exactly.
And when you're in a debate against one side, sometimes you move further,
exaggerate a little bit
to the other side, right? Like it's when somebody was asking me about the whole obedience thing on here, and I said, you know what? If your spiritual father tells you to murder someone, just go and do it. I was being deliberately hyperbolic.
Yeah.
In the other direction, right?
Yes.
Because of the propensity of a lot of modern individualistic people.
Yes. And then at the end of his essay, he ties it into Saint Staniloy and Bulgakov. So I thought it was a pretty good essay, just to have an alternative for, because I know Witkoff's book can be controversial. I think Father Andrew takes a pretty balanced, just like, here's what the Holy Fathers say kind of approach to it. I thought it was very good.
Yeah. There's a lot that those folks have it, and I'm not including Witkoff in this because, like I said, I haven't.
He's a much more nuanced thinker.
I'm sure he has a more nuanced view.
Yeah,
but the
clearly.
people who are just like all unbaptized babies go to hell.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't think they fully processed that. That would mean every miscarried child goes to hell.
Well, it's like a
conception, not birth, right?
Yeah, well, they try to soften it somehow, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's still Gehenna, dude. Like, I don't, whatever.
Like that's insane, right?
Yeah.
Like that's literally insane. And there are a ton of icons. Look up Orthodox icons of Abraham's bosom. There are all these icons of Abraham with the souls of all these children in paradise. There are icons of the harrowing of hell that show this procession, Christ leading this procession of the fathers out of Hades into paradise. And there's a ton of little kids who are already there. Right? Like, that's. So, like, it is very strange to me and counter anything we see in Orthodoxy. I've never heard of, and this is common practice in the Roman Catholic Church. Get ready for Roman Catholics in the comments to say I'm lying and making things up. And then
this clip is going to go. This clip is going to be all over Twitter.
But it is common practice in the Roman Catholic Church to try and find and baptize the conceptus in the case of a miscarriage.
Really? I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Like I said, get ready. Here we go. But that is common practice because of Roman Catholic teaching on this subject. There is no such practice within Orthodoxy. Go and read the prayers after a miscarriage. Okay? There is not a single allusion in it anywhere to the fate of the child. You're not praying that the child would be forgiven of anything. You're not praying that, right? And you might say, well, that's because they all just believed that they couldn't go to heaven because they were miscarried. However, a lot of people criticize the Orthodox prayers after a miscarriage because there are elements of it that call upon the mother to repent if she was in any way involved in the child not coming to term through her action or inaction. That's super controversial now because people say, oh, you're blaming the mother, right? Now, in actuality, a lot of women have said that those, there you go.
Is that the icon?
That's one of them. Yeah, that I was referring
to. Abraham's bosom. Yeah.
That's and there are a lot of women who actually have found that helpful to them because they feel guilt already after the miscarriage. And so having those prayers has actually helped them. But either way, right, seems to me that if the people writing these prayers thought that because of the miscarriage, the child went to Gehenna. That might be mentioned in terms of the mother's action, right? In those
That's a good point. Yikes.
Which it's not. Right? But so again, people aren't good at, they're just looking for language, right? They're not good at thinking through what would the entailments of this be, and is there any sign of any of those entailments?
It's just like one,
and there's
so
none.
close. It's just like one order of thinking higher, just like one more.
Yes.
It's a little bit more thinking.
But there's people, get ready for people to get mad at this too, but I sent you a clip. I supplemented my Nietzsche reading this Lent with some Schopenhauer.
Lovely.
Specifically his work on the philosophy of idiocy. And I sent you a piece of that, like a summary of part of this. Right? We have to accept,
that was that email. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes, that not being capable of metacognition or even higher order cognition, right, is not evil. Okay, it's not bad. It's not just to put it like, people have different gifts.
Slow boys can also go to paradise.
Yes, right? Like, no matter how hard I had trained every day of my life, I could never have played in the NBA. Right? Like, I do not have, none of my efforts could overcome the fact that I did not have the physical gifts to play in the NBA. Right? Like, I could have played high school basketball maybe if I tried real hard. Maybe even college if I went to a small liberal arts college. But I would have had to work really hard, and I never would have gone to the NBA. I never would have been Alan Ogg, let alone Michael Jordan. Okay. Right. Some of this stuff is just, there are gifts you have and gifts you don't have. Right. I have no singing voice. Right. I've worked really hard over 17 years as a priest to become like unobjectionable, to be mid. Like, that is the great achievement of all my work, because I don't have the gifts in that respect. There are other gifts I do have cognitively, and I try to do my best to use those in service of God. But there are people who don't have those gifts, right? And there are extreme cases where they don't realize they don't have those gifts and they think they do.
That's a problem.
Right. But we also just have to accept that there are some of these levels of cognition that some people can't do.
And that's okay.
And that's okay, except when they sort of don't realize it. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if I thought I was Pavarotti, right, and I kept telling my head chanter to buzz off. No, I'm going to handle this like every difficult, like, I'm going to sing the Cassidy this year. I would just ruin bridegroom matins for the whole parish. Right? So I try not to do that. Right? Like, I say, you know what? Any piece that's remotely difficult, I'm like, hey, head chanter, right? Hey, choir director, you're really good. You sing this, right?
You got this one?
Yeah. Like, you take this, right? You know, right? So, and that's fine. So people just need to kind of realize that. So that's why when you say it's just one order of thought more, there are people who can't go to that.
Yeah. Fresh Palmeni says, Schopenhauer, I hardly know her.
Well, he's famous for just being this horribly pessimistic philosopher, and he is, right?
Well, I read his essay on why he thinks debate, I forgot what it's called, but it's like why he thinks debate is like pointless, and he's talking about like showmanship and how people get caught up in their egos and all they want to do is win the debate. And I just feel like that essay kind of misses the entire point.
Well, it's his profound pessimism about people.
Yeah.
Right. He not only talks about stupid people. See, this is where I disagree with. I think he diagnoses it pretty well. He just thinks that's like 99% of humans. And I think that's a much smaller portion.
Yeah.
Than he does. But so he just thinks it's a waste of time. Like, he was so tired of, like, he considered his fellow professors to be idiots.
Like total dummies.
Like, So he was a little extreme, right? I'm not full-throatedly endorsing what everything Joe Biden said, but like his diagnosis of the fact that a lot of people, maybe even most people, if they hear a complicated argument and then a simple assertion,
simple assertion,
we'll go with the simple assertion, right? Because they
100%.
understand it, and so they mistake understanding it for being true.
Yeah, simplicity,
right,
is very persuasive.
And the argument they don't understand, so they assume it's false.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. This one I understand.
Yeah. So they confuse true and false with understand, don't understand, right?
Yeah.
So things like that, I think he's correct about, right? Like,
yeah.
And that does relate to debate.
Indeed.
Right? There are a lot of people who judge your debates based on you're mean.
as
therefore you lose. Therefore you're wrong because you're mean.
I'm like shocked sometimes at the people that have that take, and like there are some people where I'm like, yeah, I would think that you would look at you of all people would judge like substance only, but like I guess how like the volume of your voice during cross-examination can persuade some people.
Right. Yeah.